Making Decisions. How do framing effects change the way we make decisions? By Madison Sullivan. Human factor psychology teaches us that there are many different factors that influence the way we make decisions. Our lecture defines decision-making as considering multiple pieces of information, determining what the information represents, and selecting the best course of action. Some of the ways that we make decisions include information accessible to working memory, time available, and framing effects. Framing effects are influences of background information and how a question is worded. Framing effects. Our lecture from class helped us to describe framing effects as an influence that background knowledge or wording of a question can have on the way a question is answered. The lecture taught that oftentimes choices that appear to have some sort of uncertainty or risks are less likely to be chosen. The first piece of research I have for this presentation is the Evaluation Framing Effects by James N. Druckmann. This experiment was conducted and based off of an experiment that was very famous. Druckmann assigned 320 students to choose one of three choices. The students were able to choose between 200 people being saved and 400 people dying, or a 1/3 probability that 600 people will be saved and no one will die, but a 2/3 chance that no people will be saved and 600 people will die. Even though both of these outcomes have an equal level of risk, 68.1% of Druckmann's students opted for program A because it was a risk-averse alternative. The second piece of research that I found for this assignment was Unexpected Framing Effect, Impact of Framing a Product Benefit as Unexpected on Product Desire. This study used a sunscreen commercial to test whether or not people would be more likely to purchase a sunscreen if they were given the expected results for the sunscreen up front, or if they were told that the results from the sunscreen were going to be unexpected. Data was recorded on the two groups to see which group was more likely to purchase the sunscreen. It was found that the group who were told the expected results up front were much more likely to purchase the sunscreen, as opposed to the ones who were told the effects of the sunscreen were unknown. The final piece of research I found for this presentation was the offer framing effect, choosing single versus bundled offerings affects variety seeking. This piece of research was published in December of 2014. This study gave groups two options in choosing soft drinks. 289 participants were tested, 104 of which were females. The participants were given a choice between choosing two drinks, between two soft drinks, or choosing a variety or surprise between the two. The study concluded that people were much more likely to choose being able to choose their own variety of the two drinks over the surprise combo, even though most of the people who chose their own combination chose both drinks, showing that they liked each drink equally. The study concluded that it was because of the wording of the unknown outcome of the later choice that caused the participants to choose the option that did not sound like it had any risk, regardless of whether or not the people actually liked both drinks equally. My hypothesis for my own hypothetical experiment is, I hypothesize that the way a scenario is framed will affect the way consumers respond, and that the framing effect will influence decisions, and that people often choose the choice that they feel poses the least amount of risk. Participants. For my hypothetical study, I would select 75 females at random and 75 males at random. All of these people would be between the ages of 25 to 45. I would use these types of people because I think they represent a good example of the general adult population who are affected by making decisions about their money and their savings. Materials. For this experiment, I would only need the participants and the questionnaire that I would be questioning the participants on for them to choose between two choices. This would be an example of the question set I would choose for my experiment. Both options have the same probability of outcome, but the second choice sounds as though it has more risks. Choice A is accidentally misplacing $400 of your $1,600 worth of savings, or choice B, having a 1 in 4 chance of losing all of your $1,600 savings, but still having a 3 in 4 chance of not losing any of your money at all. Procedure. First, I would have all of the participants receive a copy of the sample questionnaire. They will be told before they look at the options on the paper that they only have 30 seconds to answer the questions. Anyone who took longer to answer the questions would not be counted because it is important that the data from the participants is their initial response and not one that has had time to weigh the outcomes. The papers would then be collected and the answers would be recorded and then analyzed. Expected results. I expect that it will be more likely for the people to choose what appears to be the most risk-averse choice, even though the calculated risk of both is equal. In this case, I expect that most people will choose choice A, to lose $400 of their $16 savings no matter what, as opposed to choice B, where they take a 1 in 4 chance of losing all of their savings, but have a 3 in 4 chance of getting to keep all of their savings.